Pleasure's all mine.
Would you watch where you're going? We're heading for the docks.
We gotta make the boat.
Boat? What boat?
What, you think we're driving to Nantucket? Come on, it's an island.
You never mentioned any boats. I hate boats. I'm not getting on any boat.
I beg to differ.
Welcome to the Shermer High Alumni Association. I'm Kristen.
I'm Janine.
And I'm Carol. And we rewatch movies from the 80s to determine, did that age well?
This week's movie is One Crazy Summer, a movie where corporate greed is taken down by Bobcat Goldthwait in a Godzilla costume.
Join us as we rewind, rewatch, and remember the decade that shaped us. Hey, everybody. Hello. Hello. How is everybody? Home. Finally.
Yay.
Oh, boo-hoo. Boo-hoo for us.
Yeah,
Jeez.
darn.
Katie
Yes.
missed her first day back at work. Oops.
Whoops. Did she get in big trouble?
No, not at all. No.
It
But she wanted to
happens.
be there.
So you actually just got home from the island that this movie is about.
Which is great. Did not know
Isn't
that.
weird?
Yeah. We planned it out that way. We're really super smart.
Yeah.
That's
It's
it.
all
Yep.
planned out.
That's us. That's so
We're like-
funny.
We were like, you know where Kristen's going to be? We should definitely do a movie that has something to do with this.
And I love
Totally
that. I guess it makes sense not to film on Nantucket. That would be cost prohibitive even in the 80s. But they did a really good job. They did a
They
really
did.
good job to make you think that you were on Nantucket. Because I guess you could just stick yourself in front of any
Cape Cod
Cod styled house and call it Nantucket.
with water and boats.
Yeah.
You need
And it's funny, like this was post St. Elmo's Fire, Demi Moore.
Mm-hmm.
This was like, what was the last John Cusack movie we did?
It wasn't Say Anything, was it?
It might have been.
Let's see.
So it was pre-Say Anything.
this
Yeah.
movie is pre-Say Anything.
Wasn't Say Anything 89? I'm just
Mm.
making these things up in my head, but
Did we do Say Anything in 2026? It's been so long.
yeah, Say Anything's from 1989.
Oh,
Joe
Yeah.
lies.
He does.
We went to dinner with Kathy and the family, and they had some friends in from Sunnyvale, and we were talking to the girlfriend. She was lovely, and we were talking about the podcast, and she was really excited about it. And she was asking, have you done this movie? Like every kind of Brat Pack movie. Yeah. When she brought up Say Anything, I was like, oh my gosh, I think we made Say Anything merch. I went and looked and there wasn't any. But I was like, I know I made a Lloyd Dobler shirt. I am
Yeah,
Lloyd Dobler.
I am Lloyd Dobler.
It
Yeah.
wasn't on the website. So I was like, oh, I need to look at that. So yeah, I need to
Yeah.
find that I am Lloyd Dobler shirt.
It's a very important shirt.
It is. So this week's movie is One Crazy Summer. An aspiring teenage cartoonist goes to Nantucket for the summer and accidentally gets drafted into a high-stakes class war where the only logical way to save a singer's ancestral home from greedy yacht club billionaires is by unleashing pure 1980s chaos, a ragtag group of misfits, and Godzilla. The masterpiece of absurdity turns a standard coming-of-age romance into a beautiful disaster of property damage and working-class spite, proving that John Cusack doesn't need smooth words to woo Demi Moore when he can just draw aggressive cartoon rhinoceroses and win a rigged regatta. It is a wonderfully unhinged time capsule where logic takes a vacation, corporate greed is defeated by teenagers and the power of animated imagination triumphs over cold, hard cash.
Better off dead.
Yes, exactly. So in this movie, we have John Cusack, who we have talked about before in Say Anything. But to refresh everybody's memory, John Cusack was born June 28th, 1966, in Evanston, Illinois, into a prolific Irish-American filmmaking family where all 5 siblings, most notably his sister and frequent co-star Joan Cusack, became actors. He made his feature film debut in the 1983 teen comedy Class, which launched a prolific decade of 1980s films that defined his early career, including 16 Candles in 1984, his breakout leading role in The Sure Thing in 85 and Better Off Dead in 85, the cult classic One Crazy Summer in 86, and his iconic boombox-holding turn as Lloyd Dobler in Say Anything in 1989. Over a 4-decade career that transitioned from teen icon status to acclaimed adult roles in High Fidelity, Grosse Point Blank, and Being John Malkovich, he established a reputation for playing thoughtful, cynical, and fiercely nonconformist characters. Beyond his diverse on-screen work in both cult comedies and massive action blockbusters like Con Air, Cusack is an independent spirit who maintains a sharp distance from the traditional Hollywood studio system. He holds a level 6 black belt in Yuki-Doken kickboxing. He is a passionate political activist and alternative rock fan who frequently sneaks his favorite bands onto his film soundtracks and famously missed out on playing John Bender in The Breakfast Club before cementing his own legacy as one of his generation's most enduring offbeat leading men. He plays Hoops McCann in this film.
Demi Moore was born on November 11th, 1962 in Roswell, New Mexico, and rose from a tumultuous childhood to become one of the most iconic, fearless, and highest paid actresses in Hollywood history. She first captured the public's attention in the early 1980s on the soap opera General Hospital, before cementing her status as a core member of the famous Brat Pack, with a string of definitive 1980 films, including Blame It on Rio, St. Elmo's Fire, About Last Night, and this week's movie, One Crazy Summer. This 80s momentum launched her into an unparalleled 1990s superstardom, with massive box office hits like Ghost, A Few Good Men, Indecent Proposal, and G.I. Jane, establishing her as a trailblazer for equal pay in the studio system. Beyond her highly publicized marriages to musician Freddie Moore, whose surname she kept as her stage name, Bruce Willis, with whom she shares 3 daughters and maintains an incredible, close and supportive friendship, and Ashton Kutcher. Moore is a New York Times bestselling author for her raw 2019 memoir, Inside Out. Embracing her independence, she continues to capture headlines and critical acclaim, recently winning a Golden Globe and earning an Academy Award nomination for her fearless performance in the body horror hit The Substance. She plays Cassandra Eldridge in this film.
We also have Curtis Armstrong, who was born on November 27th, 1953, in Detroit, Michigan, and transformed his childhood love for theater and books into a career as one of Hollywood's most beloved and legendary comedic character actors. He made his feature film debut alongside Tom Cruise in the 1983 hit Risky Business, which kicked off a wildly prolific decade of defining 1980s pop culture. He rapidly became the ultimate cinematic second lead by playing the iconic belching Dudley Booger Dawson in Revenge of the Nerds franchise, the unhinged, drug-seeking Charles DeMar in Better Off Dead, the chaotic Ack Raymond in this week's movie, One Crazy Summer, and the forlorn operative Herbert Viola on the hit TV series Moonlighting. Far from just a wacky 80s caricature, Armstrong is a classically trained theater actor who has spent over 4 decades seamlessly shifting gears earning critical praise as a real-life music executive, Ahmet Erdogan, in the Oscar-winning biopic Ray in 2004, and playing the manipulative angel Metatron on Supernatural. In his personal life, Armstrong converted to Judaism when he married writer Elaine Aronson in 1994, with whom he shares a daughter, Lily. Fully embracing his legacy, he penned a critically acclaimed memoir titled Revenge of the Nerd in 2017. He co-hosted a reality competition of the same name, frequently voices Snot on American Dad, and continues to play eccentric roles like in the animated series Max and the Midnights. He plays Jack Raymond in this week's film.
Bobcat Goldthwait, born Robert Francis Goldthwait, was born May 26th, 1962, in Syracuse, New York, and channeled his raw punk rock energy into becoming one of the most unapologetically bizarre and brilliant forces in American comedy. He exploded onto the 80s stand-up scene with a legendary, hyper-cynical persona characterized by a gravelly, half-strangulated scream, where he adopted the stage name Bobcat early in his stand-up career, partly to avoid confusion with other performers and to brand his wild stage persona, which he seamlessly translated to the big screen as the unhinged gang leader Zed in the Police Academy franchise. The terrifyingly festive Elliot Loudermilk in Scrooged, and the famously explosive Egg Stork in the cult comedy This Week's Movie, One Crazy Summer. Rather than remaining trapped in 80s nostalgia, Goldthwait completely reinvented himself behind the camera into a highly respected, award-winning independent filmmaker and director. He won critical acclaim at festivals like Sundance for directing fiercely dark comedies like World's Greatest Dad, starring his close friend Robin Williams, and God Bless America, as well as acclaimed documentaries like Call Me Lucky and Joyride. In his personal life, Goldthwait has been sober since age 19, has a daughter named Tasha, and married Scottish actress and filmmaker Pollyanna McIntosh in 2024. Today, he lives a quiet life in the woods with his partner and 5 cats while continuing to tour the comedy circuit, voice eccentric characters, and develop new film projects. He plays Egg Stork in this film.
I love that he lives in the woods with his wife and 5 cats.
I know. That's fantastic.
It is fantastic. We also have Kimberly Foster, who is a former American actress born on July 6th, 1961, in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Best known for playing Cookie Campbell in this week's movie, One Crazy Summer, and the devious Michelle Stevens on Dallas from 1989 until 91. Her 12-year career began with the 1983 TV movie The Making of a Male Model, followed by guest roles on iconic 1980 shows like Knight Rider, The A-Team, Hotel, and The Fall Guy, alongside a main role in the short-lived 1985 series The Best Times. Her big screen portfolio features roles in Dragnet, You Can't Hurry Love, It Takes Two, Love Bites, and Broken Trust. Before she finished her screen run playing Liz Sloan on All My Children from 94 to 95, having stepped away from acting in the mid-1990s, she is now retired from Hollywood, married with 2 children, and leads a private family life. She plays Cookie Campbell in this week's film.
Joel Murray. I think this is the first time we've seen Joel Murray. Not Joel. No. Okay. Joel Murray is an American actor and comedian born April 17th, 1963, as the younger brother of Bill Murray. He made his feature film debut in this movie as George Calamari. Beyond that early role, he has built an extensive television career as a series regular on popular sitcoms, playing Pete Kavanaugh on Dharma and Greg, and Fitz on Still Standing, alongside recurring roles on hits like 2.5 Men and Shameless. On the dramatic side, he earned critical acclaim as the alcoholic copywriter Freddie Rumsen on AMC's Emmy-winning drama Mad Men, while his notable film credits include starring in the dark comedy God Bless America, appearing in the Oscar-winning film The Artist, and voicing Don Carlton in Pixar's Monsters University. Today, he stays highly active by guest starring on shows like Chicago PD, touring North America with the live improv comedy show Who's Live Anyway, and serving as a brand ambassador for William Murray Golf. He plays George Calamari in this film.
We also have Matt Mulhern, born July 21st, 1960 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He is a former actor, director, and writer who is now an academic historian. He is widely recognized for his memorable role in One Crazy Summer, where he played Teddy Beckerstead, the spoiled, wealthy Nantucket bully and primary rival to John Cusack's character. Beyond this film, Mulhern achieved major career accomplishments on both stage and television, notably starring as Joseph Wykowski in the Broadway and film version of Biloxi Blues, and playing the lovable Marine Lieutenant Gene Holowachuk on the hit CBS sitcom Major Dad from 1989 until 1993. Later in his screen career, he held a recurring role as Lieutenant John Stackhouse in Rescue Me, and wrote and directed independent films like Dwayne Hopwood. In 2015, Mulhern retired from professional acting to pursue his lifelong passion for higher education. He earned a master's degree from the City College of New York and later became a PhD student and a history professor at Fordham University, where he focuses on his academic career today. Again, he plays Teddy Beckerstead in this film.
This movie was written and directed by Savage Steve Holland, who we saw before on Better Off Dead, also with John Cusack, and Michael Jaffe, also on Better Off Dead. This was distributed by Warner Brothers, and its release date was August 8th, 1986.
Yay!
So happy 40th birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Ole!
The budget on this was $9 million. Okay. And at the
No helicopters.
there were no helicopters, and box office reports at $13 million. So it wasn't a smash, but they made their money back.
Yeah, it made a little tiny bit of money.
Yeah.
So let's talk about shooting locations. Several locations were on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. So they used the St. Pope John Paul II High School as generic high school. Hyannis West Elementary School was generic elementary. The Woods Hole Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket Steamship Authority ferry docks in Woods Hole, where the characters board the ferry. And the motorcycle gang leader jumps into the motorcycle on the water. So that is like where the Nantucket Steamship Authority loads. The gas station bathroom scene was shot on a stage that was built in MBL Club in Woods Hole. The inside of General Raymond's Army Navy store is Mass Bay Company, located at 595 Main Street in Hyannis. The Stork Brothers gas station is the then Amoco, which was located at 1098 Main Street in Dennis, Massachusetts. So some fun stuff that I found out about this is that Hoops McCann is named after the protagonist in Steely Dan's song Glamour Profession from the Gaucho album, who is described as a professional basketball player in Los Angeles. The animation in the film was directed by Bill Kopp, who previously worked with Savage Steve Holland on Better Off Dead. So the cartoons that were in that movie are the same animation in this week's movie. And he would later work with him on Eat the Cat. Two animators who worked on the film, David Silverman and Wes Archer, would later become directors on The Simpsons and would animate Simpsons shorts on The Tracy Ullman Show with Kopp.
Oh my God. I completely forgot that The Simpsons actually started
on
off of Tracy Ullman. Yeah.
Yeah. Savage Steve Holland was reportedly upset that Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert's criticism of the earlier film Better Off Dead, which led to the gag with the two bunnies that get blown up at the end of the movie who resemble Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert.
I don't blame him for doing that.
That's hilarious.
It is hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
We ready to get into it?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Are you a PJ girly like me? I love a good PJ. I completely embody lazy girl weekends and am very particular about my cozy clothes. That's probably why I own 3 of Cozy Earth's bamboo sleep dresses. These sleep dresses are buttery soft, breathable, and most importantly, for those of a certain age, moisture wicking. I work and travel and find myself on flights quite often. Cozy Earth's bamboo jogger set is also made of that same soft, breathable, moisture wicking material and is the perfect travel day ensemble. Cozy Earth's products are a favorite among celebrities. For 7 consecutive years, Oprah included Cozy Earth on her favorite things list. And the brand has been featured on Good Morning America, InStyle, and Better Homes and Gardens. Customers echo this love with thousands of 5-star reviews. With free shipping on orders over $100, a 100-night sleep trial, and a 10-year warranty, Cozy Earth will bring lasting luxury and comfort into your home. Visit cozyearth.com and use code SHAWPODCAST, SHAA podcast at checkout and get 30% off your first order. By doing this, you help us earn a commission that supports us and the show.
So we begin with a cartoon of a rhino talking about how love is blind. So how will it find him? The rhino encounters fuzzy bunnies asking them for help to find love. And the bunnies bully his looks and said love will have nothing to do with him. So the rhino reaches in his suitcase and he shoots the bunnies. And now we go to our main character, Hoops. And this is his cartoon and he scratches it, throws it away. Hoops' mom comes in with his newly washed and cleaned up cap and gown for graduation that day. We flash over to the graduation ceremony, and Hoops' gown is very short all over. Hoops tells his friend George that he has to get out of generic New York where they live, or he will lose his mind. So his friend George invites him to Nantucket for the summer. But Hoops only has 2 weeks to send in his scholarship assignment for the Rhode Island School of Design. In the parking lot, George tells Hoops that he needs a break from his mom. And as they are walking by all of the brand new cars given to the other graduates, we come across Hoops' vehicle, which, what was that? Is that a tractor?
Yeah, it is. So he gets a tractor. Everybody else gets these nice sports cars. And he's like, yeah, I got to get out of here.
Yeah,
Which
I
is,
can't tell if it was a tractor or like a military vehicle.
That ties into the other movie where it's like, you know, his mom is real weird and quirky. And it's the same in this movie, is that his mom is just weird and quirky.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I ironed your
No,
bang
washed.
down or washed.
She washed it and shrunk it. So
Right.
it's like child size now.
And he doesn't seem to care too much. He just wants to get out of there. So he gets this tractor. And now he realizes that Nantucket sounds like a great idea. So now we see kids running out of the elementary school for the summer. And we see a girl named Squid walking a dog with a cone. And these 2 asshole girls come up and start making fun of the dog and chanting dog from space. And I wanted to just slap these bitches.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Who does
First of all,
that?
This little
Man.
girl is scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Super creepy.
Let's just put that out there. I would not want to see this little girl in a dark alley. And she's with this dog that is just a hot mess.
Yeah.
Just to set the stage there.
Yes. So the crossing guard warns these girls that if they are slapped on their back while making mean, horrible faces, then their faces will stay that way forever. Jump forward a couple of seconds, and Squid slaps these girls on their backs, and their ugly faces stick, which was really creepy.
Oh my God.
It was so
It was
weird.
horrible.
You heard about this while growing up, but they actually made it come true, which was hilarious.
And
It was
then
like,
Fantastic.
And the Cabbage Patch Kid had a face
Yeah,
I know.
too.
there's a lot of good slapstick humor in this. So Hoops and his friend are on their way to Woods Hole, and we flash to a girl with a guitar running from a dude on a motorcycle, and Hoops pulls into a gas station, and that's where this woman ends up at. A bunch of bikers pull up, and they end up finding this girl who is named Cassandra in a bathroom stall, and they're looking for their money. Hoops happens to be in this bathroom, and he finds the money, and he asks them, "Is this what you're looking for?" And they chase him for it. He throws all the money into the wind, which was way more money than Cassandra put in the bathroom. If you notice, she only put a few bills in there, and then he's running out with the money, and there's
A stack of
seemed to be
cash.
like 100 bills.
Yes.
Like, that continuity wasn't quite there.
And he doesn't pick up the one that he drops on the
And
floor.
that
I'm
made
like,
it on
dude,
purpose.
there's
Like, I
more
almost felt like that was
Yeah.
on purpose.
for sure.
So they chase Hoops for the money. He blows it in the wind, and he gets in the car, and they take off, and they sideswipe all of the bikes down. And now Cassandra is in the backseat of their car. Hoops says that he hates boats and he's not getting on a boat, but the steamship has departed the dock, and George says to hold on, and they launch off the deck, and they land on the boat, of course. The pink-haired biker chasing them does not. He lands in the harbor.
It was so funny because, like, when you see that, like, how far out the ferry is, you're like, there's no way in hell that they would be making it onto that ferry. There's no way. But they just
Yeah.
land it perfectly and don't hit anything.
Was
I
that
love how when they land in the car, the dog is just perfectly straight. Nothing happened there.
It was awesome.
Is that an actual boat over to the island?
What do you mean?
Was that an actual ferry? Because that looked like a small ferry for being a
I don't know.
automobile
It was
carrier.
1986. I
Yeah.
have no idea.
So maybe in the 80s,
Jeez.
they had much smaller ferries.
I mean, and that could have been a Woods Hole to Martha's Vineyard vessel. Like, you have no
It
idea.
could have been.
Yeah.
So now we see a new cartoon where the rhino gets on the boat and he sinks.
Cute.
And Hoops and Cassandra start talking on the ferry, and he says he doesn't like boats. Cassandra's going over to the island to help her grandfather. And somehow the girls with the stuck ugly faces are on the ferry. That
yeah.
was scary. It's like, oops, school's out. Everyone's on the ferry to go to the island.
Ugh.
And then we land on the island, and the stork twins are there. And Cassandra leaves Hoops, and Hoops meets the twins for the first time. And they tell Hoops about working on the set for the film Foam. And a dude in a red car pulls up, which is our character Ted. And he ends up going up right to Hoops to the point where Hoops falls onto the car. And then Ted gets out and he berates Hoops about touching his car.
But he whispers it, and he's like,
Yes, he's very creepy whisper.
touch my car. He's like, what? You touched my car.
But that Hoops whispers back at him.
Right.
Yes. He fixes his collar, and then he fixes his sweater that he has over his shoulders, like fixes the arms on the sweater.
Yeah. And we also see Cookie for the first time in this scene as well. So there's a lot of funny little things that happen that are hard to portray in a rewatch, but they end up putting Hoops on, what did they put him on? Like one of those fishing
Like the display hook.
displays on how big you catch your, like how big your fish is that or your whale or whatever. So there's a lot of little funny things that I highly recommend watching the movie just to take a look at these minute little funny slapsticks. So now the guys and Squid and Bosco the dog, they arrive at Grandma's house, and Grandma completely ignores the guys and only talks to Squid. And the guys go to meet Uncle Frank, who is listening to the radio and smoking, and he yells at George to be left alone because he is trying to win a radio show and he is progressively losing his MFing mind. It's just him in a room, smoking, listening to the radio, and he seems like he needs some padded walls. The guys go into the Navy store looking for Aki. So is it a coincidence that this kid is named Aki, or is he really named after
But
Ak? Yeah, they call him
I don't
Aki
think
as a pet name.
obviously it ties in somehow.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find any
very-
backstory.
It's very coincidental.
So the airport code for Nantucket is AC. So that's why we're questioning if
Right.
Ak's name it has to be related to that. So,
Yeah, it has to be.
So he's looking for Aki, and he is told that Aki is on the beach collecting shells for his old man. And we flash over to the Air Force target beach with explosives going off. So they go out and they see Aki, and he says that they get $12 for every shell, and they also make great paperweights. As they're walking along the beach away from the explosives, they find a mangled doll, and Aki gets emotional and says that for every mangled doll, there's a girl with a broken heart. Thought that was pretty funny. It was a little dramatic, but they're driving
It's
back.
a little weird.
Yeah. They're driving back from the beach and they see a funeral happening at the cemetery. And Hoops sees that Cassandra is forefront of this funeral. So he stops the car and he backs up and he backs into a car and the alarm goes off at an alarmingly loud volume. We go now to a dude on his deck boiling a lobster and he's listening to it in the water with a stethoscope.
So weird.
So freaking weird.
Did this guy not remind you of Uncle Tommy?
Yes.
Yes. It was
I was
so
going to bring that up, but yes. It's especially 80s Tommy. So he's listening to the lobster scream to its death. That was pretty creepy. And then he threatens his son, who is, we find out is Ted, that if he doesn't win the regatta trophy, they lose everything. And that seems a bit extreme. You're on Nantucket. You obviously have all of this money, but winning a stupid boat regatta, you're going to have to
it's
win.
a big deal,
that to
Carol.
keep everything.
It's a big deal.
Can't you just go buy your own trophy?
No. It's the notoriety.
Yes. So Dad tells Ted that if he doesn't win, he will have to go to work. And that's just the worst thing in the world, apparently. So they begin talking about the Eldridge land. And that is related to Cassandra Eldridge. And they need that land to build Beckerstead Estates. Ted found out that the owner's granddaughter, who is Cassandra, owns the land and has 1 week to pay the back mortgage. He starts describing Cassandra, and if she doesn't get the money, Ted's dad will get the house. Cassandra and Hoops are now walking on the beach, and she needs $3,000 to pay the back mortgage. Like, how did this get in a foreclosure type state? Just because Grandpa was sick?
I
don't know.
Really don't know the backstory to it.
Who was helping him while he was dying? I don't
No
know.
one. He
This
lived
is-
on Nantucket alone.
This is very disappointing. Like,
Well, no,
where's
it sounds like he had a commune there and he rented out a lot of the rooms. So not really sure where all that money went.
or if someone on the island was helping him and did some shady shit. But yeah, I'm kind of disappointed. It only takes $3,000 to pay this back mortgage.
Well, what is the equivalent now?
Oh, geez.
You opened yourself up for that.
$9,141.
That's a lot of money. And for a young lady to come up with, That's a lot of money.
It is. I'm just very disappointed in whoever was helping this old man, this old dying man.
And he
And
really should have prepared for his death.
I would think I feel bad for the grandpa.
Yes.
Someone let him get into this position along
Correct.
with Cassandra.
Correct. Agreed.
And so she said that she needs more time than the 1 week, but she won't give up. She'll sell some of the furniture and the clothes. And Hoops talks about trying to get a scholarship to art school, and he draws her his rhino, which becomes then animated on the screen and changes him to be a gorilla with Cassandra. She leaves and invites him to come over later, and he calls her back because he is literally stuck in the sand. Like, he cannot get his feet out. So now back at the house, Uncle Frank is still trying to win the radio contest, and he gets electrocuted and is blown out of the windows and lands in the marina, which is pretty funny. So he went to go pee and ended up getting electrocuted.
He slipped on the soap that was on the floor.
Well, now we're back at the beach because this is a beach island, so we're always going to be at the beach. And Egg gives a kid a kite, and the kid flies away, which was pretty funny.
He's like, Mommy, Mom,
Yeah.
Mom.
And Egg's, oops, sorry.
Sorry, kid.
Sorry. So Hoops is drawing. I don't know what I wrote here.
He's just drawing. We don't know what he's drawing.
So now Hoops is drawing, and the chick from the dock, who is Cookie, with the douchebag, comes up to them and asks for help in getting her sailboat in the water. She invites Hoops on the boat, and he says no, of course, because he doesn't like boats.
What I like, hold on, can we be, sorry, but what I liked was, Aki went, no, I don't want to help you with your boat into the water. That sounds like work. That sounds horrible.
like work. And now, mind you, Egg and his brother work for Ted's dad. So there's this close relationship circle that's happening here. But yeah, Egg's, no, I don't want to do that. That sounds like work. That was another one of those little things in here that's, you just need to watch the movie. So Cookie asks Hoops to go to a movie with her because her boyfriend has plans that night. And George has been in the sand under this big giant dude eating all sorts of crap, including chili.
Like a gigantic Costco size can of chili.
On the beach.
Who does that at the beach?
Yeah. So then we see EMS coming to save him because apparently he was in there for so long. You can't be immersed in sand for that long. You need some room to breathe. So EMS comes to save him.
We don't really know what happened.
No. I can only assume that between the guy sitting right above him who had no idea.
Like asphyxiation due to all the bean gas.
That could be too, yes.
Yikes.
So Hoops and Cassandra are together, and she says if she has a gig that night at the Dewdrop Inn. But Hoops may have plans, but Hoops may have plans that night, but he may be able to go. So now back at Grandma Calamari's, they are eating, and Grandma gives Hoops a bill for the food. Now, she technically runs, it seems like she has an Airbnb? No?
It's hard to tell.
I think she's just charging the people that are in her house.
Yeah, she just must have this house and people take advantage of it. So she's like, I'm going to get a kickback here for what I'm putting into it. Which I don't blame her, but especially with these boys. These are guys that just graduated high school. They could eat her out of house and home.
It is true.
So George says that Cookie is Hoops's love story. And the plan is to get on Cookie's good side since Ted is trying to get Cassandra's land. So now we have a mission to help Cassandra and screw Ted. And that night, Hoops opens the door to go see Cassandra. He has decided not to go out with Cookie, but Cookie is standing there. They get in her car, and while driving, they see Cassandra hitchhiking, trying to get to her gig. And instead of pulling over to help her, Cookie splashes and drenches her. So, screw you, bitch. Now we see that the Stork twins are at the film set, and Egg is not to touch any of the props. So, when there's that disclaimer, it's not going to happen. And now we flash over to the drive-in movie theater. And hit it, Janine. What are they singing?
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby and have ourselves a snack.
Yes. So Hoops asks why Cookie isn't with Teddy, and she kisses him, and he tweaks out, and he runs to get them treats, and she asks for popcorn. And now Teddy's buddy is there, and he sees Hoops and knows that he is with Cookie. And now Egg is going through the props, of course, and Cassandra makes it to the dewdrop in. So there's all sorts of happenings of who is where and who knows what, all within a few seconds. And now back at the movie theater, George scares the absolute shit out of Hoops and says that the Stork twins are reliable to watch Ted, so there's nothing to worry about. Egg is stuck in a Godzilla costume, and he realizes it's 9 o'clock. He's got to get the hell out of there. And Grandma is at the gas station with Squid and Bosco in the back seat, and the gas clerks are making fun of Bosco.
What's wrong with this dog? He's fine. He just has a couple bandages on him and a cone.
Yeah. So Squid ends up rolling up the window, and their ties get caught, and Grandma starts driving away, choking the hell out of these guys. That serves you right. So Cassandra is now performing for the whopping 5 people in the bar. And the reception at Ted's house is really popping. And Egg is hiding in the bushes in the Godzilla costume. And the president of the Charter Bank of Nantucket is there, Chong Freen, who lights up the prototype for the new estate that the douchebags want to build on Cassandra's land. So Ty calls Teddy and tells on Cookie and Hoops. So Teddy goes running. Grandpa throws a cigar into Egg's Godzilla costume. So Egg starts running around the party, smoking and tearing through the prototype, and there's sparks flying.
It was so great.
Yeah. It was. And we see Chong Freen is just getting a huge kick out of this.
Yeah, and he stomps on the city like Godzilla would have, which is really super funny.
And now back at the theater, Cookie wants to go see the moonrise. And George goes to find Egg, who was not at the prop truck. And we go over to the beach, and the scout troop that Ack's dad leads is with Ack and the dad, and they disperse on a mission that I wasn't too clear about. The dad starts telling them about finding body parts on the beach. This really seemed to be like a triggered Vietnam memory type situation.
I feel like they were just going camping, but he just made it like something that it really wasn't. Like military dad kind of thing. Okay, yeah. I get it that we're here to just camp out, but also I'm just this weird military dad.
Yeah, like he tells them to go save people. But we see Cookie and Hoops, and they're at the beach, of course, because everyone just ends up at the beach. And the scouts find him, and they attack Hoops, and they say, save him, because he kind of fell down like a little sand dune. So they chase Cookie to save her. Cookie ends up running into the street, and Teddy just so happens to be driving by, and he gets out, and she hugs him, and she says that Hoops and his weird friends are chasing her. Screw you. You're the one that pursued Hoops, so whatever your angle here is, you need to get a hobby. So Hoops runs into George and hops on Egg's bike with him. So now Hoops is wrapped up like a mummy, and he's on the back of a bicycle with George. So it's quite a sight. But
Like a moped.
Yeah, it is kind of the first electric bike. So Egg is following Egg is following George and Hoops in the Godzilla costume. They're all just going down the street and they all end up meeting at the Dewdrop Inn. And Cassandra comes out and she bets Teddy $100 that Hoops can beat Teddy at basketball, because with the name like Hoops, of course, Cassandra got the impression that he's like God's gift to basketball. And Hoops tries to stop it, but they realize they don't have a hoop. So they end up putting Jack on the side of the building and he makes his arms into a circle to be the hoop. So Teddy makes his 3 baskets and Hoops makes none of his. So now Cassandra is pretty embarrassed, but she ends up macing all of the bad guys and they all take off. So now the guys are at the beach and Jack was kicked out of his house and George offers his grandma's for him to stay. And Cassandra shows up handing out flyers for her set at the Dewdrop Inn. And if you notice the dates, it is Sunday, August 1st, which is almost today, guys.
And we're recording on August 1st.
We are.
Wow. Except today's Saturday.
So it's almost today. And Hoops tries to apologize to her and he wants to make it up to her. And she says that she can by buying a ticket to the show. Instead, Hoops makes an animation advertising Cassandra's set and he projects it at the drive-in against the screen. And he goes into town and he hands out flyers he made for her show. George puts a flyer on Ted's door. And the dad knows that this is the girl that can ruin his estate plan. And if people show up to her set, she just might make enough to pay the bank back. The Stork twins then show up to pick up the Dag's Jaguar because they own a garage. So they work for the dad, but they're constantly doing something with his cars. So now Jack is moving out of the Navy store and he goes over to the Stork twins garage. It's actually called Stork and Sons. And Ack says that he wishes his dad would understand. And Hoops, do we understand? I didn't quite grasp exactly what happened between Ack and the dad.
Because he decided that he can't go into the military. And his dad is disappointed because a real man would join the military. And so he said, well, if you're not going to go in the military, then you have to get out of my house.
That's shitty. Now, Hoops is at Cassandra's as she's getting ready for the show and he's amping her up. And this is another slapstick thing where she ends up bending over to grab something she dropped and it made the door close, which pushed him to travel down what seemed to be like 5 flights of stairs. Then we go over to the marina and we see Ack blowing up a dinghy and Hoops then steals a lobster truck that's being loaded. And then they take the truck over to Ted's house and they dump these huge garbage cans of lobsters into Ted's pool. As they pull away, we see Ted head to the pool to do his laps in his tighty-whitey. What are they called?
Speedo.
I thought there was another name for it. Anyway, so yeah, Ted's in his Speedo and he's going to do his laps, but he ends up getting pinched by these lobsters and he somehow gets Cookie thrown in there with him and she has one on her. So it's now the attack of the lobsters. And at the Dew Point, is that the name of the place?
Dewdrop Inn?
Sorry. So at the Dewdrop, Cassandra has quite a crowd and everyone's dancing and having a great time. And she sounds great and she has this full band with her. And Hoops is collecting money at the door for the show. And Ted and his dad show up and we see that the grandfather is even at the show. Ted and his dad end up leaving just to see. I guess they showed up just to see how the show was going and what the threat looked like.
Yeah, they were pissed that so many people were there.
Yeah, but didn't look like the grandfather was with them. He just seemed to be in attendance. So now the next day we're at the Charter Bank of Nantucket and Cassandra gives half the money owed. Was it half the money or all the
I
money?
thought she gave him all the money.
I think she gave him all the money.
Okay. Because I swear I heard her say, this is half of what I owe you. But anyway.
Maybe she did. Maybe she did.
But this was her end date to get the money into the bank. So that's why I was like, swear she said half, but shouldn't it be the whole? So she saves whatever. So she's there giving Mr. Freen the money, but he tells her that Beckerstead bought the mortgage on the house. And she's like, you gave me till today to pay this. And he basically says they have the money to pay it. So you're SOL, lady. So we see that they're already doing some sort of construction, demolition on the land. And Ted's dad comes over and he kicks Bosco.
Nope.
Nah.
Nope.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just making him a bad guy, but even worse.
This was a what the fuck scene.
Like, you didn't think that his dad could be any worse, but then he kicks a dog. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with the dog.
No. Punch a person. That's fine. But the dog? What the hell did the dog do to you? Yeah.
No, it just makes us hate him more, and he's got to go down.
So fuck that guy. And now we see everyone at the vet with Bosco. And Squid's, of course, very upset. And Hoop says that they need a plan and to not give up. And Aki's got a plan, and it revolves the regatta. Because if Teddy doesn't win, the grandfather takes everything away from him. So they need to win the race. And what do you need to win the race? You need a boat. So Aki pulls a dilapidated boat out of his ass, and they end up fixing it up. And it looks pretty decent, but then they christen it with George's fancy bottle from France, which ends up being like an airline bottle of Jose Cuervo.
Ha ha.
So he gives it to Cassandra to christen the boat, and as she goes to break it on the boat, it just punches a hole through the boat. So that's pretty funny. So the guys give Hoops a captain's hat, which is a medieval horn hat.
Isn't it like a Viking helmet?
Yeah. But he says that he doesn't need the hat because he doesn't like boats. So if he's not going on the boat, he won't be captain. He doesn't need that. So he has a temper tantrum and walks off, and Cassandra follows him and she asks what's wrong. And he says he just doesn't like boats. And she says that perhaps he hasn't had the right experience on a boat. And they end up kissing and falling in the water. Back at the garage, Teddy's car is there, but who's the other twin's name?
Egg.
No.
Clay.
Clay. Okay. So Teddy's car is there, and Clay was beat up a little bit. So Egg looks at him. He's like, "You beat you up?" That was actually they beat you up. And so Egg gets really mad that, fuck you, dude. This is getting out of hand. So now we see the garage doors close and chainsaws come out. And now it is regatta time. The guys are dancing on the boat in their bowling shirts, and everyone's looking at them like, what the hell is this?
So fantastic.
It is.
It's so good.
And so they pull up next to Teddy, and Teddy ends up cutting a line off of the stuffed animal. What was with that? His act got really mad.
I mean, they had their own, what do you call the thing that's at the front of the boat?
Like their mermaid?
Yeah, like the mermaid. And they have, who is that, Odie?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's their like mermaid.
Odie's their mermaid.
And then like let me chop off its tongue. Douche nozzle.
Oh, is that what they did?
They cut off the tongue, and then like Jeremy Piven ate the tongue.
Yeah.
Okay, because I rewinded this like 3 times because it's hard to do notes and
Yeah.
do too many things, and you couldn't quite tell what happened. So that makes sense now. So that's why Aki got really pissed. So now we hear the gunshot sound and the race is on, and George hypes up Egg with rowing by talking smack. He's like, oh, this guy's playing with the WWE. This guy's going to win. And Egg gets so mad. He's rowing like a madman. And Ted's dad is on board. And much to Ted's dismay, Ted apparently did not know his dad was in the under cabin. And he busts out his bow and ends up shooting Hoops' sail down. And with movie magic, they just need to get that weighted ball up through the top of the sail, in through that hoop. And Hoop magically makes that shot.
He's
And they get-
amazing.
It is. It's movie magic. And they end up getting their sail back up and they're back in the game. Ted's boat assaults another boat. And a guy goes overboard and Aki goes in to rescue him. So he's a hero of the day. The giant dolphin with rabies, who we do see earlier, but it was just a real quick thing, is part of this film that's being filmed on the island. And so now we see this dolphin and it runs into Ted's boat. And Ted's dad is knocked overboard. Dad is now in the mouth of the dolphin, and Squid is the one managing this prop. I'm sorry, but is anyone watching this girl?
No,
Okay.
she's
No.
just a feral child.
No.
Apparently, that doesn't speak. Okay.
Yep.
So,
That's
yeah.
what makes her character
But
so
she's the Neville
creepy.
Longbottom of the film.
She is. She
Yeah.
is.
So now both Ted's boat and Hoops' boat approach the start engines sign where sails go down, and Ted's boat starts going with what they say is with a lawnmower engine, which I wouldn't think is faster than a boat engine, but I digress. And Hoops' boat, which is called the boat, is running on Ted's Ferrari. So that's what they did to Ted's car. And they zoom in through the harbor and they win the race. Hoops kisses Cassandra and George kisses Cookie. Squid and Brosco are there, and Brosco has puppies. So is Brosco a girl?
Bosco.
I thought it was Brosco. Yes,
Bosco.
Bosco. Yeah.
Huh,
So
he
is
could be a
Bosco-
dad.
Yeah,
Where's,
he could.
where's baby mama?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's gone.
Oh, okay.
She's taking a rest.
Okay. So Bosco is a parent. We'll just say that. Apparently. And Ack's dad shows up and talks to Ack about being a hero, and he's the talk of the island, and he is so proud of Ack and wants him to come home. Ted's grandfather, ends up giving Cassandra her house back. He says she has quite a voice. So he must have been at the show on his own free will, realizing that his son and grandson are douchebags. And it ends with a cartoon of the rhino finding love that lasted all summer, and Uncle Frank winning the $1 million on the radio show, but he rips the cord out of the wall.
my God. You knew that
So
was
they
going to
take
happen.
another caller. Oh, shit. Jeez. Could have asked for help on that. I have 2 lines left. Hold on. All right. So the rocket behind Uncle Frank ends up blowing up the radio station, and the Stork twins grab their marshmallows for a bonfire. And scene.
Just all around. This doesn't have the best reviews. IMDb has it as a 6.4 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes shows it as a 45%. I don't know any of these people. that have reviewed this, but I'll go with the New
Me
York.
either.
Okay, so we'll at least go with the New York Times. Nina Darnton of the New York Times. John Cusack and Demi Moore are such charming personalities that they are appealing even in so silly a setting. There's good chemistry between them. It would be interesting to see them make a film together instead of being stock figures. Okay, hold on. Critic reviews of One Crazy Summer.
I didn't find many.
Okay. The LA Times, the Los Angeles Times says Savage Steve Holland's One Crazy Summer is a zesty hot weather tonic, light and sparkling, and a fine follow-up to last fall's Better Off Dead, Holland's knockout debut feature. And as impossible as it seems just now, Holland actually finds fresh approaches to the youth comedy. TV Guide said Holland fills this film with so many throwaway gags that it is impossible to communicate the outright zaniness. Each scene contains dozens of jokes, some that work and some that don't, but they keep coming so fast and furious that the duds are easily forgotten. Strung together on the flimsiest of plots, Holland's film works as well as it does because he stocks it with several Holland's film works as well as it does because he stocks it with several likable, eccentric characters. While certainly not for all tastes, it's refreshing teenage fare and underlining insouciance is a welcome touch of innocence. So, let's see. Chicago Tribune. We all know who that is. Not everyone said good taste was a requirement for good box office, particularly when the commodity in question is a summer teen flick. But it does help to have appealing characters in the leading roles and a script with at least the wit of a failing TV sitcom. Another New York Times, but see, this is one by Nina Darnton, but I don't know if that's in our notes. Okay, so there's a different one from Nina Darnton. That the film is so successful at turning your brain into something resembling mashed potatoes that it is not clear whether you'll be able to respond to intelligible stimuli again.
The hell does that mean? These freaking critics, man.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
overall, critics didn't hate it.
No.
And I think they recognized it for what it was. When you have somebody who's writing and directing something and his name is Savage Steve Holland, he's not writing Shawshank Redemption here, right? Right.
No.
And we'll get into that. But yeah, someone we've never heard of from Miami Herald. One Crazy Summer is all about this band of misfits who go to this really pretty island for the summer and meet up with this really pretty girl and then get into these really pretty dangerous situations. What shocking originality.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you can watch this movie on Tubi and Sling for free. YouTube, Apple TV, the Roku channel. Roku channel, I think, is free. Amazon Prime, Google Play Movies, and Fandango. You can get it for $3.99. I watched it on Sling. What about you guys?
I watched it on Tubi.
Rhyme, because my original goal was to watch it on our way home from Nantucket. And that day just didn't go very well. And there was no other way to watch it in the air but to rent it.
Oh.
And then I
sucks.
didn't end up watching it until we got home. Anyway.
Jeez.
So for me, that puts it at kind of
Yeah.
cringe for me. Reluctantly, but it's there. So it's kind of cringe. I enjoyed this movie. I've never seen this movie before. Never really had given it a thought. And which makes me so happy that we do this. We wouldn't be watching bangers like Fire with Fire or Rad.
We wouldn't even
You
know
know.
about them.
Exactly.
We didn't even know what Fire with Fire was.
I know. Oh, wait. We just finished watching Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland.
Sounds familiar.
It was on a few years back. It was on maybe before the pandemic. And Virginia Madsen is one of the surviving senators.
Ooh.
I was like,
I know her.
each time when she would come into a scene.
Fire with fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was surprisingly a fun movie to watch. It was fun. I forgot about kind of Bobcat Goldthwait's shtick, which I never really got his shtick, but hearing it when we were doing his bio or whatever, it is what made him funny. And I thought he was really good in this movie. He took a character. That's not how he is in real life, right? So he took a character he does stand up with, but he made that, like, he just took that into acting. And like, to me, that is just so talented.
Yeah.
I guess it's like Pee Wee Herman, right? So anyway, I enjoyed the movie. Would I watch it on a Saturday? Probably. Keep it on. I don't know. I wouldn't turn it off. I think if it popped on, it would be fine. It was funny.
Excellent.
It was.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with Kristen, is that I was going to bring up that there are a few parts that you're like, eek. Yeah, you can't do that nowadays. So, I don't think that most of this movie, yes, it could be remade, but there are definitely parts of it that you're like, yikes. I thought that it was cute. The storyline is cute. There are parts of it that are really hilarious. If you smack somebody on the back, your face will get stuck that way. And even though it's probably when we were kids, we would have been like, oh, that's creepy. But now that we're older, that is hilarious. And like the fact that they use, I don't know, Sculpey on their faces or something. And it looks just so terrible that you're like, wow, A for effort, guys. But
No, but it's on purpose. But
yes, yeah, it is on purpose. And so it's just hilarious that we can see things that we're like, wow, this was so funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I appreciate that it's funny. The characters are funny. The fact that I get stuck in the Godzilla costume, that's hilarious. And then to add in that the grandpa throws the cigar and then he ends up smoking, and just adding the lobsters to the pool, and just there's so many parts of it that you're like, slapstick funny. So I would also give it a kind of cringe. I guess if it came on, I'd probably rewatch it, just because I feel like there were parts of it that I wasn't really paying 100% attention to. And so I'd like to kind of rewatch them again, just to see some little parts to it. So yeah, it was pretty good.
I'm going to pretty much go the same. I'm on the very low end of kinda. Yeah. Very low end of kind of. I would definitely watch this again. I thought it was hilarious. There was so much going on. I thought Bobcat was amazing. And there were so many instances. It was hard to catch up being the narrator. So I would actually like to watch it again. It helps that it is actually shown for free, which we haven't come across too often.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
So being that it is free, I think I may watch it again tomorrow. I don't know. I thought it was very funny. Thought the acting was actually really good. And it checked the boxes of having the evil rich family, the love interest in peril, the wacky best friend. It had what you
It checked all the boxes for a teen comedy, honestly.
Exactly. Thought it was very funny.
So
Very
the only
glad
thing
we
that
watched it.
disqualifies this from the Hall of Fame is that it does register on the cringe scale.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a nice
Ever
runner
so
up.
slightly, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
If you take
slightly,
those
but
couple of things out, it could definitely be remade.
All right. So yeah, that was One Crazy Summer, the movie that expected us to believe that Demi Moore saved a house from foreclosure by performing in a synth pop band.
as someone who spends every summer on Nantucket, I can promise you nobody is saving any real estate on that island with a Casio keyboard.
If Cassandra can survive a broke summer in Nantucket, we can definitely survive this episode without losing a regatta.
Maybe. But speaking of questionable choices, let's see what you guys thought about the Hoops Cassandra love story.
Drop a comment about this episode and let us know how you felt about their little love story, or if you were just here for Bobcat Goldthwait.
Thanks for hanging out with us at the Shermer High Alumni Association. If you had as much fun today as we did, hit follow, drop a review, and share this with your favorite 80s movie lovers. Until next time, be kind, and don't forget to rewind. Bye-bye.
Bye.